Lieutenant Du-Han Kim hated formal events. He especially hated them when he had to stand perfectly still for hours, watching important people talk about important things while trying not to fall asleep. But as a security officer at the Terran Embassy Station, this was part of his job. The Grand Hall sparkled with floating lights that looked like stars. Humans in their best clothes mixed with aliens from 20 different worlds. Du-Han watched them all from his post near the refreshment table, making sure nothing went wrong. At least the view was nice, he thought, looking through the huge windows at the real stars outside. The space station slowly turned, making the star field move like a gentle river of light. The Stellar Empire delegates stood out the most. Their tall, graceful bodies were covered in shimmering clothes that changed color with every movement. Their skin had a soft purple glow that got brighter when they talked. But the most striking thing about them was how they moved. They never touched anyone, not even by accident. They glided through the crowd like dancers, keeping perfect distance from everyone else. Du-Han checked his watch. 2 more hours to go. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other, trying to stay alert. That's when he heard the crash behind him. A server droid had dropped a tray of drinks. Without thinking, Du-Han stepped backward to avoid the spreading liquid. At that exact moment, Lady Neri of the Stellar Empire was walking past. Time seemed to slow down. Du-Han's shoulder bumped into Lady Neri's arm. He felt the soft, warm touch of her skin for just a second. Her purple glow instantly turned bright white. The entire hall went silent. Lady Neri's eyes went wide with shock. She stared at Du-Han like he had just set her on fire. Every Stellar Empire delegate in the room turned to look at them. Their bodies all started glowing bright red. "You touched me," Lady Neri said. Her voice was barely a whisper, but in the silent hall, everyone heard it. "You dared to touch me." Du-Han's training kicked in. He stepped back and bowed deeply. "My deepest apologies, Lady Neri. It was an accident. I was avoiding a spill and didn't see you behind me." The lady's glow got even brighter. "An accident? You think that matters? Do you have any idea what you've done?" Ambassador Jisoo Park appeared as if by magic. "Lady Neri, please accept our sincere apologies. Lieutenant Kim meant no disrespect." "Disrespect?" Lady Neri laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "This goes far beyond disrespect, Ambassador. This human has triggered our most ancient law. By touching me, he has only 2 choices." She looked straight at Du-Han, her eyes glowing like purple fire. "Death, or becoming my mate." The words hit Du-Han like a punch to the stomach. Death or marriage, over an accidental touch. He looked at Ambassador Park, hoping this was some kind of joke. The ambassador's face told him it wasn't. "I suggest your lieutenant study our laws very carefully," Lady Neri said. "He has 3 days to make his choice." She turned and glided away, her glow still bright white. The other Stellar Empire delegates followed her, leaking the hall in chaos. Du-Han stood there, his mind spinning. A simple bump had just turned into a choice between death and marriage to an alien noble. Some part of his brain noticed that Lady Neri was beautiful, in her strange alien way. The rest of his brain was too busy panicking to care. Ambassador Park put a hand on his shoulder. "Come with me, Lieutenant. We have a lot to talk about." Du-Han sat in Ambassador Park's office, staring at the data pad in his hands. The ancient Stellar Empire law glowed on the screen in both their language and human translation. He had read it 10 times, but it still didn't make sense. "This can't be real," he said, putting the pad down. "A law that says touching means marriage or death." Ambassador Park nodded. She looked tired. "The law is 5,000 years old. Back then, the Stellar Empire didn't know about other intelligent species. Their laws weren't made with aliens in mind. But why haven't they changed it? Because until humans came along, no one could touch them by accident." The ambassador pointed to a different part of the text. "See, their bodies give off energy fields. Other species can't get close enough to touch them. Their fields push against each other naturally. Duhan remembered the soft, warm feeling of Lady Neri's skin. But I could touch her. Exactly. Humans are the first species they've met who can get past their energy fields. That's why this law has never been a problem before. A knock at the door made them both look up. A tall figure in flowing robes entered. Another stellar empire noble. This one was older, with silver streaks in her purple-tinted hair. Lady Yumhee, Ambassador Park said, standing quickly. "Thank you for coming." The older noble bowed slightly. "I came as soon as I could. I am Lady Neri's mentor." She turned to look at Duhan. "So, you are the human who touched my student." Duhan stood and bowed deeply. "It was an accident, my lady." "Accidents mean nothing under this law." Lady Yumhee's voice was gentle but firm. "However, I may be able to help you understand your situation better." She pulled out her own datapad and showed them a glowing image. "This is Neri's energy field when you touched her." The image showed waves of white light. White means her field recognized you as compatible. "This is unusual." "Compatible?" Duhan asked. "Yes. Usually, when someone breaks the touch law, the noble's energy field turns red with rejection. But Neri's turned white. This hasn't happened in over 1,000 years. Ambassador Park leaned forward. "What does that mean for Lieutenant Kim?" Lady Yumhee's expression softened. "It means he has a real choice, not just death or unwilling marriage. Neri's field accepting him changes everything. If he chooses to become her mate, their union could be genuine." Duhan felt his face get hot. "But I barely know her." "You have 3 days to change that," Lady Yumhee said. "Neri will allow you to visit her if you wish. You may find you have more in common than you think." She turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing, Lieutenant. The white light means Neri's energy field sees something special in you. In our culture, that is considered a gift from the stars themselves. Do not waste this chance too quickly." After she left, Duhan sat down heavily in his chair. "What am I supposed to do now?" Ambassador Park gave him a small smile. "I suggest you get to know Lady Neri. And quickly. Your life may depend on it. Or you might just find something wonderful. Either way, you have 3 days to figure it out." Duhan looked out the window at the endless stars. Somewhere out there, an alien noble was probably just as confused as he was. Maybe Lady Yumhee was right. Maybe this was worth exploring. "Can you arrange a meeting?" he asked the ambassador. "I'd like to talk to Lady Neri." The Stellar Empire garden on the space station was beautiful. Small floating lights danced between strange purple and blue plants. Duhan walked carefully along the path, trying not to touch anything. He'd had enough trouble with touching things lately. Lady Neri waited for him near a fountain that seemed to flow upward instead of down. Her skin gave off a soft purple glow that matched the plants. When she saw him, the glow flickered slightly brighter. "You came," she said. She didn't sound angry anymore, just curious. "I thought we should talk," Duhan said, "since I have to decide whether to marry you or die." Neri's glow turned slightly pink. "You are very direct. Most nobles would talk around the subject for hours. Humans usually prefer to deal with things directly." He paused. "Is that okay?" "It's refreshing." Neri gestured to a bench. "Please, sit. But remember, no touching," Duhan finished. "I'll be careful." They sat at opposite ends of the bench. Duhan noticed that Neri was studying him closely. "I've been reading about humans," she said. "Your species touches each other all the time. Handshakes, hugs, pats on the back. How do you stand it? How do you stand never touching anyone?" Duhan asked. "Don't you feel lonely?" Neri's glow dimmed slightly. "We touch our mates and family. But yes, sometimes I'd wonder what it would be like to be more like humans, to touch without it meaning everything. And I wonder what it would be like to have every touch be special," Duhan said quietly. They looked at each other for a long moment. Duhan noticed things he hadn't seen before, the way her eyes seemed to have stars in them, how gracefully she moved even while sitting still. Neri broke the silence first. When you touched me, what did it feel like to you? Warm, Duhan said honestly. Soft, like touching sunlight, if sunlight had a feeling. He smiled a little. Your energy field didn't push me away. No, Neri said softly. It didn't. I've been thinking about that. About what it might mean. A group of nobles walked past the garden. Neri straightened up immediately, her glow returning to its normal purple. Duhan recognized one of them, a tall male noble who glared at him as they passed. Who was that? He asked. Lord Tawan, Neri said. Her voice had gotten colder. He had hopes of becoming my mate before the incident. Oh, Duhan felt strangely bothered by this information. I'm sorry if I ruined your plans. Neri's glow turned slightly orange, an emotion Duhan couldn't read. Don't be. Taiwan was my family's choice, not mine, and his energy field never turned white for me. They talked for another hour, about their worlds, their jobs, their lives. Duhan found himself laughing at Neri's dry humor. Neri seemed fascinated by his stories about Earth. When it was time to leave, Neri stood gracefully. Will you come again tomorrow? Yes, Duhan said, surprised by how much he wanted to. I'd like that. As he walked back to his quarters, Duhan realized something that should have scared him but didn't. Dying was no longer an option he was considering. Now he just had to figure out if he was ready to be married to an alien noble he was definitely starting to like. Duhan couldn't sleep. Tomorrow was his last day to make his choice, but he already knew what he wanted. His meetings with Neri had shown him someone special, smart, funny, and different from anyone he had ever met. His computer beeped with an urgent message. It was from Ambassador Park. Come to my office now. Emergency. When Duhan arrived, the ambassador wasn't alone. Lady He was there too, her usual calm face filled with worry. Lieutenant, Lady He said, Lord Tawan has found a way to force your death sentence. Duhan felt his stomach drop. What? How? He found an older version of the touch law. Ambassador Park explained. She showed him a document. It says any non-noble who touches a noble must die. No marriage option. But that's not the current law, Duhan said. It doesn't matter, Lady He said. Taiwan has friends in the High Court. They're going to vote tomorrow morning on which version of the law to use. Duhan sat down hard in a chair. Does Neri know? No. Taiwan made sure she wouldn't find out until after the vote. Lady He's glow turned dark purple with anger. He wants her to think you chose death over marriage. We have to tell her, Duhan said, standing up. Wait. Ambassador Park held up her hand. The nobles are having a private dinner right now. No one can interrupt them. Then I'll wait outside until it's over. Lady He touched a crystal on her necklace. The dinner will end in 1 hour. I can help you meet Neri in the garden after that. Duhan nodded. Thank you. But why are you helping me? The older noble's glow softened. Because in 5,000 years, I've never seen a noble's energy field turn pure white at a touch. And because Lord Tawan cares more about power than happiness. An hour later, Duhan waited in the garden. His heart beat faster when he saw Neri approaching. Her glow was bright and happy. She didn't know about the danger yet. Duhan, I didn't expect to see you until tomorrow. Her glow dimmed when she saw his face. What's wrong? He told her everything. As he spoke, her glow changed from purple to white to angry red. How dare he? She said when Duhan finished. Her voice was quiet but fierce. Taiwan thinks he can use our ancient laws like tools for his games. The vote is tomorrow morning, Duhan said. I don't know how to stop it. Neri stood very straight, her glow now a determined bright purple. But I do. I am still a high noble of the Stellar Empire. If Taiwan wants to play with ancient laws, I know some he hasn't thought about. She turned to Du-Han. I need to know something first. If there was no death threat, no forced choice, would you want to be my mate? Du-Han looked into her star-filled eyes. Yes, he said simply. I would. Neri's glow turned pure white again. Then trust me. I'm going to call an emergency meeting of all nobles right now. It's time everyone learned what happens when you threaten a noble's chosen mate. As she hurried away, Du-Han realized she had called him her chosen mate. Somehow, that made him feel stronger. Whatever Neri was planning, he would stand with her. Taiwan had no idea what he had started. The Great Hall of the Stellar Empire section was full of glowing nobles. Their colors shifted between purple, red, and orange as they waited. Du-Han stood at the back with Ambassador Park, watching Neri walk to the center of the room. Lord Taiwan stood up. Lady Neri, this emergency meeting is most irregular. The High Court votes in 3 hours on the human's fate. That's why I called this meeting. Neri's voice was clear and strong. Her glow was steady purple, showing no fear. You want to use an outdated law to kill my chosen mate. Did you think I wouldn't fight back? Whispers filled the hall. Many nobles' glows turned bright orange with surprise. Chosen mate. Taiwan's glow flickered red. That human touched you by accident. The law says he must die. Which law, Lord Taiwan? Neri pulled out a data pad. The old one you found, or perhaps we should look at an even older one. She pressed a button. A huge image appeared in the air above her. Ancient words glowed in the Stellar Empire language. This law is 7,000 years old, Neri said. It says that when a noble's energy field turns pure white at first touch, no other laws can break that bond. The touch shows the stars themselves have blessed the match. Lady Yun, he stood up. I witnessed the white energy field myself, as did 20 other nobles at the diplomatic dinner. Taiwan's glow turned dark red. That law was written before we met other species. It can't apply to a human. Why not? Neri asked. She walked slowly around the room as she spoke. Our laws say nothing about what species a mate must be. They only talk about energy fields and touch. When humans came, we were shocked that they could touch us. But did anyone ask why? She stopped and looked at each noble in turn. What if humans can touch us because they're meant to? What if the stars sent them to help us grow, to learn new ways of connecting? The hall was silent. Many nobles were glowing light blue, the color of deep thought. My energy field turned white when Lieutenant Kim touched me, Neri continued. Not red with rejection, not orange with confusion, pure white. That hasn't happened to any noble in 1,000 years. Are you saying the stars are wrong? An older noble stood up. Lady Neri speaks truth. We cannot ignore a white energy field. It is our most sacred sign. But he's human, Taiwan shouted. His glow was now almost black with anger. Yes, Neri said firmly. He is human. He is different from us. And my energy field chose him anyway. She turned to face Taiwan directly. So here is what will happen. You will withdraw the old law from the High Court. You will acknowledge my choice of mate, or I will challenge you under the laws of honor for trying to harm my chosen one. The hall erupted in shocked whispers. A challenge of honor was serious and often deadly. Taiwan looked around the room. Most nobles were now glowing purple in support of Neri. He had lost. I withdraw my request to the High Court, he said stiffly. Neri's glow brightened. Good choice. She walked to where Du-Han stood. Now, if everyone will excuse me, I need to speak with my future mate. We have a wedding to plan. Du-Han couldn't help grinning as they left the hall together. That was amazing, he whispered. Neri's glow turned slightly pink. I protect what's mine, she said. And you, my strange human, are definitely mine. Du-Han was walking back to his quarters when he noticed something strange. The normal lights in the corridor were dimmer than usual. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Too many footsteps. He turned around just in time to see 3 figures in dark clothes coming toward him. Their faces were covered, but their purple skin gave them away as stellar Empire nobles. "The human who thinks he can join our noble houses," one of them said. "Let's teach him a lesson." Duhan's security training kicked in. He backed up slowly, keeping all 3 in sight. "I don't want trouble." "Too bad. You brought trouble when you touched Lady Neri." They moved to surround him. Duhan noticed they were careful not to touch each other, which meant they couldn't fight well as a team. He could use that. The first attacker came at him fast. Duhan ducked and rolled between the legs of another. Their energy fields made them keep distance from each other, leaving big gaps in their circle. "Guards!" Duhan shouted. "Security breach in Corridor 7. The attackers hesitated. That's when Neri's voice rang out. "Stop right there." She stood at the end of the corridor, glowing bright white with anger. Lady Yunhe was next to her, holding some kind of recording device. The attackers turned to run, but found Ambassador Park and station security at the other end of the corridor. "Remove their masks," Neri ordered. When the guards pulled off the masks, Duhan recognized one face, a noble who always sat near Taiwan in meetings. "Lord Minho," Neri said coldly. "Lord Taiwan's closest friend. What a surprise." "You have no proof Taiwan sent us," Minho said. Lady Yunhe held up her recording device. "No. Then why did my security cameras record you meeting with him an hour ago, when he gave you those dark clothes?" Duhan looked closer at the clothes. They weren't just dark. They were made to hide energy field glows. "Take them to holding cells," Ambassador Park ordered. "The Stellar Empire High Court will want to question them." After the attackers were gone, Neri rushed to Duhan. She stopped just before touching him, her glow showing worry. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," he said. "But how did you know I was in danger?" Lady Yunhe's security system detected the special dark clothes. Neri explained. "Only high nobles can make cloth that hides energy fields. She's been watching Taiwan since the meeting." "This goes deeper than just you two," Lady Yunhe said. "Taiwan is part of a group that wants to stop all human-alien relationships. They're afraid of change." "They should be," Neri said firmly, "because change is coming. Duhan, and I will prove that humans and Stellar Empire nobles can be together." Ambassador Park nodded. "But we need to be careful. If they try to hurt Duhan once, they might try again." "Then we'll be ready," Duhan said. He looked at Neri. "I won't let them stop us." Neri's glow turned a deep warm purple. "No, we won't." "But Duhan," she paused. "Maybe you should start learning how we fight. Just in case." "I'd like that," he said, "though I hope I won't need it." Lady Yunhe's glow turned slightly orange. "Don't be so sure. Something tells me Taiwan isn't finished causing trouble yet." Looking at the dark clothes the attackers had worn, Duhan had a feeling she was right. This fight was just beginning. The great meeting hall was packed with nobles when Lord Taiwan made his move. He stood in the center of the room, his glow bright red with challenge. "I demand the right of ancient combat," he announced. "To prove the human is unworthy of joining our noble houses." Neri stepped forward, her glow angry purple. "You were caught trying to have him killed. You have no right to challenge anyone." "The investigation found no proof I was involved," Taiwan said smoothly. "And the right of ancient combat cannot be denied. Even you can't stop this, Lady Neri." Duhan watched from his place beside Ambassador Park. He had learned enough about Stellar Empire culture to know this was bad. Lady Yunhe explained quietly. "The right of ancient combat is sacred. If Taiwan challenges Duhan, he must either fight or give up his claim to Neri." "Then I'll fight," Duhan said. He walked to the center of the room. Taiwan smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "The human accepts. The combat will be tomorrow at dawn. Traditional rules. No weapons, no armor. Just strength against strength." Neri's glow turned pale with worry. Du-Han, wait. You don't understand. Stellar Empire nobles are much stronger than humans. Our energy fields give us extra power. I know, Du-Han said. He had learned this during their training sessions. But if I don't fight, he wins. And he'll keep trying to hurt us. The room was silent. Every noble watched as Du-Han faced Taiwan. I accept your challenge, Du-Han said clearly. Tomorrow at dawn. Taiwan's glow turned dark with satisfaction. Good. Come to the combat ring ready to lose, human. When I win, you'll be banned from ever touching a noble again. After Taiwan left, Neri grabbed Du-Han's arm, the first time she had touched him since their accidental first meeting. Her touch still felt like warm sunlight. You can't fight him, she said. He's trained in combat his whole life, and his energy field makes him 3 times stronger than you. Then teach me, Du-Han said. We have until dawn. Show me everything you can about how your energy fields work. Neri looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Come with me. If you're going to do this crazy thing, you're going to do it right. They spent the next 12 hours in the training room. Neri showed Du-Han how nobles fought, how their energy fields moved, where they were strongest and weakest. Lady Yun-Hee came to help, bringing ancient books about noble combat. The key is their energy fields, Lady Yun-Hee explained. They use them like shields and weapons, but the fields have to flow like water. If you can disrupt that flow. Du-Han practiced until his muscles ached. He learned to see the patterns in energy fields, to spot the moments when they shifted from defense to attack. As dawn approached, Neri touched his hand again. Are you sure about this? We could leave the station, go somewhere else. No, Du-Han said. If we run, others like us will have to run too. Someone has to stand and fight. Neri's glow turned white with pride. Then let me give you one last piece of advice. Taiwan thinks humans are weak because they need touch. He forgets that needing something can make you stronger, not weaker. Du-Han thought about that as he walked to his quarters to rest. Tomorrow would change everything, one way or another. Dawn was 1 hour away. Du-Han sat in the garden where he had first really talked to Neri. The floating lights were dim, but he could see the upward flowing fountain clearly. He watched the water defy gravity, thinking about everything he had learned. Neri found him there. Her glow was soft and worried in the dark garden. I should be resting, Du-Han said. You should, she agreed, sitting beside him. Not touching, but close. But I understand why you're here instead. I've been thinking about energy fields, he said, about how your people use them to stay separate, to keep everyone at a safe distance. It's our way, Neri said. It has been for thousands of years. But not anymore. Du-Han turned to look at her. Humans changed everything. We can touch you. Your energy fields don't push us away. Why? Neri's glow shifted to thoughtful blue. Lady Yun-Hee has a theory. She thinks it's because humans understand touch differently. You use it to connect, to show care, not just for mating or family bonds. And your energy fields can sense that somehow. Yes, that's why my field turned white when you touched me. It sensed. She paused, her glow turning pink. It sensed that you could teach me new ways to connect. Du-Han thought about this. Then maybe that's how I can fight Taiwan. He thinks touch makes humans weak. But what if it makes us strong instead? Neri's glow brightened. What are you thinking? Your energy fields are like water, flowing around you. But they respond to emotions too, don't they? That's why your colors change. Yes, Neri said slowly. Strong emotions can make our fields stronger or weaker. And Taiwan hates humans touching nobles. He hates it more than anything. Du-Han stood up, excited. His hatred will make his energy field strong, but also stiff, unchanging, like ice instead of water. Neri stood too, her glow turning bright with understanding. And ice can break. if you hit it in the right place, at the right moment. Exactly. Du-Han smiled. I may not be as strong as him, but I understand touch in a way he never will. That's my advantage. They spent the next hour practicing one last time. Neri showed Du-Han how to read the subtle changes in energy fields, how to spot the moment when emotion made them rigid and breakable. As they walked to the combat ring, Neri stopped. Du-Han, whatever happens, thank you. For what? For showing me that change isn't always bad. That new ways of connecting can make us stronger, not weaker. Her glow was pure white again, beautiful in the station's artificial dawn. Du-Han wanted to touch her, to feel that warm sunlight feeling again. But he waited. After the fight, there would be time for touch. The combat ring was ahead, already surrounded by glowing nobles. Du-Han could see Ta-One warming up, his energy field red and strong and unchanging, like ice. Ready? Neri asked. Du-Han nodded. He understood now. This fight wasn't just about him and Neri. It was about proving that different ways of seeing the world could work together. That touch could bridge the gap between species instead of separating them. Ready, he said. And he was. The combat ring glowed with the light of hundreds of nobles. Du-Han stood at one end, wearing the simple white training clothes Neri had given him. Across the ring, Ta-One's energy field pulsed angry red. Last chance to give up, human, Ta-One called. Save yourself the pain. No, Du-Han said simply. Let's finish this. The ancient combat bell rang once. The fight began. Ta-One moved fast, his energy field pushing out like a wave. Du-Han didn't try to match his strength. Instead, he moved like water, letting the noble's power flow past him. Stand and fight, Ta-One growled. His energy field grew stronger, brighter. Du-Han remembered Neri's lessons. The stronger Ta-One's emotions got, the more rigid his energy field became. All Du-Han had to do was wait for the right moment. Ta-One attacked again and again. Each time, Du-Han dodged or rolled away. He could hear nobles whispering, wondering why he wouldn't fight back. Coward, Ta-One shouted. His field was almost solid now, like red ice. You're proving everything I said about humans. Too weak to be worth anything. That's when Du-Han saw it, the pattern in Ta-One's energy field. Every time he shouted, his field froze for a split second. Completely solid. Completely breakable. Du-Han moved closer, pretending to stumble. Ta-One couldn't resist the opening. Die, human. He yelled, throwing all his power into one attack. Du-Han didn't dodge this time. Instead, he stepped forward and did something no one expected. He hugged Ta-One. The noble's energy field shattered like glass. Ta-One fell backwards, his glow dim with shock. He had never felt touch before, not like this. His energy field flickered weakly, trying to reform. Before he could recover, Du-Han moved. 2 quick strikes, just like Neri had taught him, and Ta-One was on the ground. The combat bell rang 3 times. The fight was over. The room was completely silent. Then Neri started to glow white, and other nobles joined her. Soon the whole room was filled with bright white light. Lady Yun, he stepped forward. The human has won using our own strength against us. He understood what we had forgotten, that energy fields are meant to connect, not just separate. Ta-One got up slowly, his glow dim gray with defeat. Impossible. No human should be able to break an energy field. You broke it yourself, Du-Han said quietly. Your hatred made it brittle. All I did was show you what touch really means. Neri walked to the center of the ring. The ancient laws are satisfied. Du-Han has proven himself worthy, and he has taught us something valuable about ourselves. She turned to face all the nobles. For too long, we've used our energy fields to stay apart from everyone. But humans have shown us there are other ways, ways that make us stronger, not weaker. Du-Han stood beside her, this time When Neri reached for his hand, neither of them hesitated at the touch. The laws about touch will be rewritten. Lady Yoon, he announced. And these two will lead the way in showing us how humans and nobles can live together. Later, in their garden, Du-Han and Neri sat watching the upward-flowing fountain. "You changed everything today," Neri said, her touch warm like sunlight on his skin. "We changed everything," Du-Han corrected, one accidental touch at a time. Above them, the station turned slowly, and the stars seemed to glow white with approval.